We're playing Vintage, the format that has the most powerful cards in the history of Magic the Gathering, like Black Lotus, Ancestral Recall, Time Lock, and then Doomsday into Thassa's Oracle. Let's go check it out. This video is proudly sponsored by Card Market. This is Vintage Doomsday. The idea is that you want to use Black Lotus or Dark Ritual to cast your Doomsday on turn 1. You also have Necropotence as a sort of pseudo 5th Doomsday that can win you the game. Alternatively, you do have Demonic Consultation to exile your deck as well. So the idea is that you use Doomsday or Demonic Consultation to exile your deck, and then you want to play Thassa's Oracle. You win every game this way. Okay, so now you understand the objective. You have things like Force of Will to protect your combo, and in this list, a single Flusterstorm. Well, why is that? Well, we're playing 4 copies of Preordain and 4 copies of Ponder. If you go way back to when Ponder was unrestricted in Vintage, in fact, you can find that video in the card above. I didn't really like having 8 cantrips in the deck because I was trying to play 4 copies of Flusterstorm, and there was a natural tension in that deck building. Well, almost every Doomsday list these days plays 4 Preordain, 4 Ponder, and then 3 Flusterstorm. That said, I do think there's some deck building tension there because you every game want to tap out on turn 1 to play one of these powerful blue spells. Alternatively, you hold open a Scalding Tarn or a Polluted Delta or whatever to go find your Undercity Sewers. So you have to play losing tempo in order to hold open Flusterstorm, or you cast a cantrip and potentially die. Well, I'm suggesting an alternative. I think that the deck should be playing 3 copies of Daze, because Daze allows you to tap out on turn 1 for your Preordain or your Ponder. It can pick up an Undercity Sewer so that way you can surveil again. And I think it just works better in a format where instants and sorceries aren't really the key cards anymore. Vexing Bauble is everywhere. And I know that you can't cast Daze for free underneath the Vexing Bauble, but it can't just counter the Vexing Bauble, or it can counter a Lavinia on the first turn, or Null Rod, or Time Vault. So I think that we're past the days in which Paradoxical Outcome is the best card in the format and you need Flusterstorm to counter it. Even those old Tinker decks that get Boss's Citadel that I love are gone. Like, even those decks are full of creatures these days. Like, they're full of the initiative creatures and stuff like that. So I think that Daze is just a better card. I really do. I'm still playing 1 Flusterstorm because we're a mystical tutor deck that also runs Vampiric Tutor, and having 1 to protect your combo at any point in the game is pretty good. It's also a great card for your Doomsday pile because you can gush into it and then have an extra blue off your Black Lotus when you go to Thassa's Oracle, so that way you can counterspell a Consigned to Memory or something like that. So 1 copy, pretty good. I'm just not sure that you want more than that. And that's the deck tech for today. If you have any thoughts, comments, questions, suggestions, whatever, put those down below. I'm sure that some of the vintage stalwarts of the format are like, yeah, but what if your opponent just leads on a Mox or whatever? Yeah, but what if your opponent just plays Time Vault? Like, Flusterstorm does nothing. And I think that Daze is the way forward. So if you're dazed and confused and you don't believe me, stick around and watch the matches. I'll see you in the first one. Don't go anywhere. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. You can also show your support by becoming a member of this channel. You get sweet perks such as badges, emotes, early access to videos, exclusive members-only content, and access to our members Discord section. As you increase the tiers, there are other rewards such as shop discounts, sideboard guides, and even free donation decks. Click the join button down below to find out more. We also have other ways you can support us, like theepicstorm.com/shop, or submitting a donation deck via theepicstorm.com/donation decks. That's enough for now. Let's play some Magic. Welcome to the first round. We're on the draw, and before we get into any mulligan decisions, I would like to thank Ari for today's donation deck. If there's a format or deck you would like to see, you just go to theepicstorm.com/donation decks, and then that's how you get to watch sweet decks like Vintage Doomsday. And now, well, we're obviously going to keep this hand because having triple copy of Force of Will is quite good. We have Doomsday already. We have an Undercity Sewers, so we can't Ponder on the first turn, but we do have the ability, if we spike a Dark Ritual, to already cycle into our Doomsday pile. So there's a lot to like about this hand. Let's go! Our opponent plays an Underground Sea into Deathray Shaman. Okay, so they're likely on the bug deck of the format. It plays 4 main deck copies of Collector Oof, Another reason that I'm just not a big fan of those Tinker decks that I used to love so much, and why I'm a really big fan of Doomsday. As of right now, Doomsday's probably the deck that I'll play at Eternal Weekend, because it's good against Vexing Bauble, it's good against Null Rod, Collector Oof. It's just really compact. And that's one of the things that I really value. We will play Undercity Sewers and Surveil. I think I want the Mox Jet, because if I cycle a Street Wraith into an untapped land, I believe we have a win. Our opponent cycles Lorien Revealed. We pick up a Tropical Island and another Deathray Shaman. They're going to get in there. I like it. Okay. So we'll play the Mox Jet, and now I have the option of cycling Street Wraith to try to hit an untapped land. I could also ponder looking for Black Lotus or Dark Ritual. I think I'm going to start with a cycle. So we'll go to 17. We did not hit the untapped land. I will ponder. So I could Vampiric Tutor for Black Lotus, cycle Street Wraith, and then Doomsday. I think I probably just keep the Vampiric Tutor, but I'm going to wait a turn. Burning Catacombs, and now they fetch Leovold. I'm going to Force of Will, exiling Preordain. Okay, they have 3 cards remaining in their hand, and they send in. We will Vampiric Tutor, go grab Black Lotus. Pretty good card. And now we will play the Black Lotus. Let's make 3 black. Play Doomsday. Storm is 2. Force of Negation, exiling Oko. We will Force of Will the Force of Negation. Doomsday on the stack. It resolves. We want Ancestral Recall. We want the Black Lotus. We'll put a pair of Thassa's Oracles in there. And, I don't know, like a Gitaxian Probe. So I will cycle into Ancestral Recall. I guess it's like better to put a Flusterstorm in. Okay, and now Flusterstorm goes on the bottom, Oracle above that, Probe, Black Lotus, Ancestral. We will cycle Street Wraith, Ancestral Recall, play the Black Lotus. We'll go to 1. They have Force of Vigor as their card. And then we'll play Thassa's Oracle. Easy game. Love it. All right, so our opponent opened up on double force. And, no, single force? Yeah, single force, and we had double force. Okay, so I'm going to make this smaller because when you play Vintage, there's a lot of 1-ups and you can't see your entire deck. So we'll just shrink this a hair, slide this up a bit. I don't think that this is a very good Force of Negation matchup, so I will take that out. I don't mind Snuff Out or Cut Down. All right, it's probably Cut Down because it kills Leovold. And then I think I'll board out both the Moxen and bring in 1 more copy of Flusterstorm, and we'll try this. Basically, I just want to make my deck not weak to Collector Oof. You really want the 1 Black Lotus, but I think that's it. Wonderful hand we will keep. Misty Rainforest pass, okay. Another Misty. Let's fetch this one because if they play a Needle, I don't want them to Needle on Misty Rainforest when I'm sitting on 2. And we'll start with a Preordain. I think we want both of these. They select an Undercity Sewers. Verdant Catacombs, okay. Psychic Frog. I am not going to start a counter war over a Psychic Frog. Okay, let's fetch, and then I will cast Time Walk. Play the Time Walk. So you could Mystical Tutor in your upkeep here for Ancestral. My problem with that is you don't have a blue card for your Force. So, like, you end up pitching a Misstep, and I don't think you really want to do that. You could also go get Dark Ritual, but it has the same problem. I just want to see what my draw step is here. Consultation. It's a weird one. We'll fetch. Let's play Demonic Tutor. So if I Demonic Tutor for Black Lotus, and then Psychic Frog discards their entire hand, it does not kill me. Alternatively, I could just like go grab an Oracle, and then try to win next turn with Consultation. So I go to 8. They draw for turn. They discard 6 cards. It does not kill me. All right, we'll get Black Lotus. Play Black Lotus. Add 3 black. Play Doomsday. Force of Will, exiling Sink in a Stupor. We will Force of Will, exiling Mystical Tutor. Mindbreak Trap. All right, so I'm going to get a little gutsy here. We're going to Demonic Consultation. I'm going to name Daze. All right, Daze was the card I named. We exiled 15 cards. Both Oracles are still in our deck. I'm going to Daze the Mindbreak Trap. Force of Will, and now Doomsday. Okay, so I'm going to go to 8 here. They have 2 cards in hand. I think we want the Oracles. I think I want Gush. So, like, I could make a pile that doesn't need Black Lotus. That's another consideration here. So I'd float 2. I'd play Gush. Just need to think about this for a second. I don't want to mess this up. And I'd Gush into Oracle plus, like, Force. So Gush would be the draw, so I'd have 4 cards left. Gush would bring me down to 2. So maybe I am supposed to put Force in my pile. But if that's the case, do I not want Black Lotus? Because, like, what is Lotus actually doing for me? So if I put in Street Wraith, I draw Gush. I think this might be it. Like, what does Street Wraith do, though? Like, I don't think it actually does anything better. Maybe it's supposed to be another Daze? Let's try this. So I draw Gush. Gush into Oracle Force. Yeah, like, I don't think this last card actually matters. Maybe it should just be a cut down. All right, so we'll put the second Oracle on the bottom. Cut down above that. Oracle, Force of Will, Gush. All right, they attack with Psychic Frog. They get to draw a card. I'm at 7 life. They play Brainstorm. Am I supposed to misstep this? All right. I'm at 5. Strip Mine. So they have 2 cards left. Play the Underground Sea. Play Gush. Thassa's Oracle. It looks like we got there. Wow. All right. We're 1-0 in this Vintage League. Moxfield.com is the easiest way to build a Magic deck online. They support over 30 formats, including Legacy and many other Eternal formats. There are so many options to view decks the way that you want, from text view to individual cards, mana value, and even card price. There's also light mode and dark mode. My personal favorite feature is card tags. This way you can sort cards by function. Moxfield supports collection tracking, Scryfall search, decklist feedback, and so much more. Follow me on Moxfield.com so you can stay updated on all of my decks. Round number 2, we're on the play. Let's go. Probe? Doomsday? Sure. Our opponent's taking a mulligan to 6. We'll play Misty Rainforest and then Gitaxian Probe, paying 2 life, and they reveal their 6-card hand. Time Walk, Force of Will, Polluted Delta, Mox Sapphire, Flooded Strand, Demonic Consultation. We are playing the mirror match. Alright, they play the Flooded Strand, and the Mox Sapphire in the second main phase. On the end step, we will fetch. Seems like a great opportunity to go grab our Undercity Sewers. Surveil. They don't actually need a Mox Jet here, so we'll get rid of that. Like, yeah, it lets me cast Doomsday, but our opponent has a Force of Will. Ponder's not bad. Let's play Ponder. Dig through time, Ponder Island. I think we keep this. Cycle the Street Wraith, and now we'll fetch. Grab Underground Sea. And Ponder looking for Force of Will. We found Force of Will. 2 more lands we don't want, but we found Force of Will. Pass the turn. They grab their own copy of Undercity Sewers. When I was researching deck lists, I actually didn't find Sewers in very many lists, but I was a big fan of it the last time I recorded Doomsday, and when you're playing 3 copies of Daze, it just makes sense to me. They play Scalding Tarn, so they played a land I did not know about, so we still know that they have this Polluted Delta in their hand. Time Walk is fine. In their upkeep, there's a long pause here. Are you going to fetch? They Brainstorm in the upkeep, sure. And now they activate the Scalding Tarn. They play Flooded Strand, Black Lotus, 3 cards in hand, one of which is a Demonic Consultation, another is Force of Will, and then 1 unknown card. We'll take a draw. Scalding Tarn, let's fetch. More fuel in the graveyard for this Dig Through Time. Actually, I'm going to pass. If they fetch, I'm going to Dig Through Time on the end step, and then if they hardcast Force, I can Daze it. Alright, let's see if they fall into my trap. Dig Through Time! Exile some fetch lands, Ponder, Street Wraith, and then we'll pay 2 blue. Flusterstorm. Is there 1 unknown? My Dig Through Time has been countered. Their opponent is a little squeamish, it looks like, with this Demonic Consultation. They appear to not want to cast it in order to go grab a Doomsday or something. So I could go Doomsday into Force, and they still have Demonic Consultation to go grab like a Flusterstorm. I'm going to Ancestral here. I'd rather just know what the 3 are. Like, I don't need to get that badly into a Doomsday. And their 1 draw was a mental misstep. Ugh, they're killing me here. I'll play Doomsday. I'm going to Force of Will, exiling Thassa's Oracle, because now if they consult in response, I can Daze. So there's a couple ways to think about this. I could let them accidentally deck themselves here, but what if they just name Doomsday, and then they untap in Doomsday plus draw a cantrip? So I think I'm supposed to Daze this Consultation, and now my Force of Will counter their Force of Will, Doomsday, and this should just be a pretty easy pile. We'll do... They've already used Misstep, Ancestral, Oracle... I've exiled 1 other Oracle. We'll do Gitaxian Probe, Time Walk, Flusterstorm. Okay. Oracle can go on the bottom, Time Walk above it, Flusterstorm, Probe, Ancestral, pass the turn. Maybe I was actually supposed to pick up an underground sea instead of the undercity sewers, because that would give me a 4th mana next turn in case I needed it. And our opponent concedes. Alright, we've taken game 1 in the mirror. Flusterstorm comes in, Force of Negation. I'm going to board out the Moxen again. Like, in the mirror match, I don't think it's actually about speed. I think it's about having more interaction. And we're at 62. What else to side out? I think Mystical isn't that great because it's card disadvantage, so I'm okay boarding that one out. And then maybe 1 Daze. You see, it's either 1 Daze or 1 Street Wraith. Let's try 1 Street Wraith. A lot of people aren't on Daze, so we might have caught our opponent off guard there. This is a hand. We will keep. They fetch with Scalding Tarn, Underground Sea. You have a Ponder. Black Lotus, Mox Jet. Okay. We find another Doomsday. We did not want 2 Doomsdays, I won't lie to you. 1 was the right number. Blooded Strand. They still have 4 cards in their hand. They fetch. Okay. And another Ponder. Demonic Tutor. That's fine. On the end step, we'll fetch. Go find that Undercity Sewers once again. And we're looking for a blue card here. Underground Sea. I'm going to get rid of that. Yeah, it can help me cast Doomsday eventually, but I don't think that's what the game is currently about. Street Wraith. I will pass. They play land, 4 cards. You draw Daze. Let's cycle the Street Wraith. Dark Ritual. Okay, let's cast a Dark Ritual. They fetch in response. Dig through time. So this is a play where they're going to bait me into them Flusterstorming me. But I don't think I have a choice here. So we're going to Force of Will, exiling Dig Through Time. I have to let the Gush go. They have 2 lands in their hand. Demonic Consultation's fine. They name Flusterstorm, Surgical Extraction, and we got flustered. I mean, I thought they already had the Fluster in hand. I thought the Consult was a bait. So I guess in theory I could have counterspelled the Demonic Consultation. And now it's like, do you counter the Dig Through Time? I'm going to say yes. So you did have double Fluster or a hard cast Force of Negation? All right, we've lost this one. The second Doomsday draw just like cost us so badly here. Our opponent untaps with 7 cards in their hand. We knew 2 of them were lands, and now they get to resolve Doomsday. Waiting on the opponent here to finish resolving Doomsday. It looks like they only have the 1 Surgical Extraction unless they have 1 in hand. We'll play Preordain. Keep the Ponder as a Force of Will card. So like how I win this game is that I just draw Ancestral Recall. They Gitaxian Probe me and see my Force of Will. I am priced into forcing this Gush because we know that there's a Flusterstorm in their pile. They selected the one in the graveyard, so they gave me information that they didn't need to. And they have Force of Will. Okay, let's go to game 3. I'm going to submit. Also, like, my dazes have looked a little worse in this matchup, only because my opponent both games has opened up on Black Lotus. So they are good. It's just, I need my opponent to stop opening up on Black Lotus. All right, I don't think we're allowed to keep this. We will keep this, though. Bottom of Doomsday. We'll play Misty and pass. In their upkeep, we're going to fetch and end Ancestral Recall. So they have to have exactly Force of Will or Mental Misstep here. Force of Negation will not counter this Ancestral Recall. So you might be saying, why not wait and try to protect it with Flusterstorm? I don't think that works because our opponent also has a bunch of Flusterstorms. So, like, you have to preordain into a land and win the Flusterstorm fight. Like, it's just not worth it. Like, it's better off to just play it now and, you know, hopefully it resolves. Force of Will, exiling Force of Negation. Ancestral has been countered. Mox Jet. Wow, they opened up on Dark Ritual, Doomsday, and Force. Yeah, wow. Okay. How we win is that I draw into a land, because then I could go Dark Ritual, Doomsday, and have Flusterstorm up for their turn. Or, if I guess technically if I draw a land, I can just try to win myself. All right, so most lists play 7 forces. Here's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They're on the full 8. The Mental Misstep is in exile. So is the Surgical. I guess I should count number of Flusterstorms. 1. They built a Gush pile because Ancestral Recall's in there. 2. There's a Flusterstorm in their pile. They cycle Street Wraith. You just have a turn 1 with Force backup? Come on. Yeah, I guess they do. I'm dead. Sometimes you get out vintaged. That'll do. All right, so we are now 1-1. Looking to make playing your favorite combo deck much easier? Look no further than the Epic Storm Mini Token Combo Pack, which is available at theepicstorm.com/shop for $14.99. This combo token pack comes with 84 double-sided tokens. That includes our classic Storm and mana tokens, as well as fan favorites such as Goblins, Squirrels, and Slime Time Live. But that's not all. We've expanded this token pack to cover a variety of formats with new tokens. Stop on by theepicstorm.com/shop and make an easy decision to elevate your combo game. Let's get back at it. Let's try to get this match. We're on the plate versus an opponent who actually ran across their name while studying deck lists, and they were doing quite well with Lurrus Saga, arguably the best deck in the format. Here, they've revealed their Lurrus, and we have an interesting hand here. So, I can Time Walk, upkeep Dark Ritual Doomsday, but I can't protect it. I think that this hand is actually a mulligan. We will keep this, get rid of the Gush. We'll fetch with Misty Rainforest, grab Underground Sea, and let's preordain. I think we want both of these. Pass the turn. They play Urza's Saga, Mox Jet, Mox Sapphire, Vexing Bauble, and another Vexing Bauble. We will fetch with Scalding Tarn, grab Underground Sea, Demonic Tutor, and they have Spell Pierce. Okay. I cannot daze. There's a Vexing Bauble in play. Alright, so our opponent's definitely in a strong spot here. We draw Necro, Dark Ritual, and cast Necropotence. So I have paid 8 triggers. They can untap and hit me for like 6. I think I want the ability to use the Street Wraith, so I'm going to stop there. They create a Construct token. We find the Doomsday, and now we have to go to cleanup. Get rid of the Gitaxian Probe. We don't need another Doomsday. We don't need 3 copies of Street Wraith. Get rid of the Daze. In their upkeep, I'm going to Ancestral Recall. Okay. They're not going to make another construct. They tap the Urza Saga for mana. They grab a Black Lotus. Time Twister. That's devastating here. Into Wasteland. Yeah, this does not feel particularly good at the moment. I don't believe it's possible for me to win this game. Cast Brainstorm, and we can go to the next one. I don't think Daze versus Flusterstorm ultimately mattered that much there. Once again, boarding out the Moxen. I think we want the Flusters. Force and Negation isn't that good. Like, it counters Vexing Bauble, but there's not really anything else you want to counter in the matchup. I think I'd rather have like a cut down in my deck, and we will try this out. This hand is risky. A 1-land Sewers hand. I'm going to try it though. Play Undercity Sewers, keep the Flooded Strand. Pass the turn. Our opponent plays an Underground Sea. We'll play Flooded Strand and pass. Scalding Tarn. They have 7 in hand. On their end step, I'll Brainstorm. Mental Misstep. I'll cycle Street Wraith in response. Okay, I no longer care about that Brainstorm. They have 6 cards in hand. We draw Daze. Not bad. Grab Underground Sea. We'll play Black Lotus. Doomsday. Storm is 2. That resolves. I believe we want Gush. Black Lotus. So I'm going to cycle into the Gush. Gush brings me with 2 cards left in deck. So we'll do Oracle, the Taxian Probe, and then we could always do another Oracle on the bottom or another Street Wraith. It's probably this. Just want to think through this one more time. So I guess it's like kind of, no, it's not free to put the Street Wraith on the bottom. All right, so we're going to cycle into Gush. So that's 4 cards left in deck. Gush brings me down to 2 cards left in deck. Probe, Street Wraith, and I am going to pay a total of 6 life when I'm going to 8, which is fine. So we can put Oracle on the bottom, Street Wraith above that, Gitaxian Probe, Black Lotus, Gush. Cycle Street Wraith down to 6. We will float 2 blue, play Gush, play Underground Sea, play Black Lotus. We will Gitaxian Probe our opponent. Consign to Memory. So that's their card in hand. We will cycle Street Wraith, play Thassa's Oracle. They fetch. You need to let this trigger resolve, and then we'll just Flusterstorm it. And now eventually, Thassa's Oracle wins, and we're off to game number 3. Resubmit. Game 3, we're on the draw. Our opponent's kept 7, so will we. Misty Rainforest. We draw another Preordain. Go grab the basic land, and let's play Ponder. Shuffle those. Doomsday, not a bad one. They just play Tundra and pass the turn, okay. Flusterstorm. I'm going to start with Ponder. It digs the deepest, and I kind of just want to fetch land here. Go Masters. Bowmasters. We will cycle Street Wraith in response. I'm going to allow Bowmasters to resolve. It might be foolish, but I feel like forcing Bowmasters isn't a winning strategy. I did find the fetch land I wanted, so keep the fetch. And I feel like I'm pressured here to cast Preordain and just let this Bowmasters kill me. Maybe I should have forced it. I'm not sure. Dark Ritual Force. I mean, that was 2 perfects. I don't know if I can actually beat the Bowmaster next turn, though. So they're going to attack me down to 9. They have Wasteland. That's annoying. Goodbye to Underground Sea. They attack for 4, I'll go to 9. They have 5 in hand. It's now or never. Dark Ritual, Doomsday. Force of Will exiling Treasure Cruise. We will Force of Will exile Flusterstorm, Doomsday. Alright, so I believe we need to win with a Gush pile. So I'm going to go to 4. I'm going to Preordain, I take 1. I Gush, I take 2. And then I can't Force of Will anymore. So if our opponent has anything, I lose. So Black Lotus, we'll grab Thassa's Oracle. I mean, I don't even think Thoracle's right, but it doesn't matter at this stage of the game. Time Walk, put a Flusterstorm in there, and then the Gush. All right, so I just want to talk through this for a moment. I'm going to Preordain, in which I'll draw Gush. Gush will draw into Flusterstorm plus Black Lotus, and then the other 2 cards just don't matter. I'm dead if our opponent can interact. So we'll put the other Oracle on the bottom. Time Walk, Flusterstorm, Black Lotus, Gush. Play Preordain. So I'm going to go to 3. We're going to Gush down to 1 life. Play Black Lotus, and they have the Consign to Memory. Yep, I lose. So they're replicating the counterspell on Black Lotus. That was like, there was a card we cannot afford to play around here because I was dead to the Bowmasters on board. So there's a chance that maybe I was supposed to Force of Will that turn 2 Orcish Bowmasters. It felt wrong at the time, but I think it was a play mistake because of how impactful it ended up being with my handful of cantrips. So I'm not a Vintage expert. I play this format like once every 4 or 5 months, so forgive me. But yeah, it did not go well. We're now 1-2. You're still watching. Make sure to give this video a like, comment, and subscribe. While you're near the description, here's a reminder to use our affiliate links if you're going to make a purchase from Amazon, Card Hoarder, or TCG Player. Just above those affiliate links, you'll find our social channels. Make sure to join those to connect with us. Match number 4, we're on the draw, and we are likely facing the Doomsday Mirror match. This time, I have opened up the turn 1 win with Force of Will backup. Alright, so let's play some Magic the Gathering. If we draw a blue card, we also have Daze backup. So, you know, it could be pretty interesting here. Our opponent gets to see our hand with Gitaxian Probe. They know that the jig is up. Alright, they have 6 cards. Let's see what we can do here. Flooded Strand. Is this an upkeep Ancestral? It is. Should I just let this go? No, I think I have to force it. Force of Will, exile Preordain. They cycle Street Wraith, Brainstorm. That does it. We will fetch Underground Sea, Doomsday. Get the Black Lotus, Ancestral Oracle. We'll put a Gitaxian Probe in there. All right, Black Lotus, Ancestral Probe, Oracle, Street Wraith. No, that's actually too many draws. It just doesn't matter. Force of Will. We'll put Force of Will on the bottom. Thassa's Oracle. I hope I didn't mess this up. Play Brainstorm. Put back Demonic Consultation. Probe. Play Black Lotus. Make 3 blue. Ancestral. And we win game number 1. Alright, we got to do the broken thing. That was nice. And now we'll bring in more counter spells. Once again, I know it's like every matchup I brought out the Moxen, but like they're the worst cards in this deck in my opinion. Like what I've learned is like maybe I want a 15th land in the sideboard. Like that might actually be a real thing. Brought out the Mystical Tutor and a Street Wraith. The old 5-lander, huh? Don't think I'm going to keep this one. We will mulligan. We will keep this. Bottom the second copy of Doomsday. They play Undercity Sewers. So both opponents in this league have had it. But when I was researching deck lists, I mean, it was less than 50% that had it. Second land was not a bad draw here. Gitaxian Probe. Look at my hand. And now they ponder. So if I fetch here, I risk Ancestral Recall. But I think I want the Undercity Sewers more. We'll grab Undercity Sewers. And we hit the best possible card, Dark Ritual. I guess Black Lotus would be better, but it was pretty close. And now we have a turn 2 that's double protected. Our opponent cannot be happy about this. Really nice person, but I'd be a little upset if my opponent drew this well. Dark Ritual, Doomsday. And why I fetch for the Undercity Sewers is I wanted the sculpting to find the Dark Ritual, and it just happened to pay off. Most times it won't, but it just did this time. Our opponent plays Force of Will, exiling Preordain. We will Force of Will, exiling Force of Will. Our opponent casts Flusterstorm, which loses to my Flusterstorm. And they put all copies on Doomsday. We will target theirs. And now Force of Will counter their Force of Will. And now Doomsday. So Black Lotus, Ancestral, Thassa's Oracle. So Gush is going to leave me with 3 cards in deck. Ancestral will draw the other 3. So technically the Fluster is not even good here, because I'm not going to have the mana to cast it. So we can just do like a Force of Will and a blue card, which will be another Thassa's Oracle. All right, we'll put Oracle on the bottom, Force of Will above that, Oracle, Black Lotus, Ancestral Recall, play Gush, Black Lotus, Ancestral to draw 3, play Thassa's Oracle, Storm count 10. Boom. All right, we won the mirror match this time. We are now 2-2 with 1 match left to go. With Card Hoarder, renting your favorite combo deck has never been easier. There isn't a more affordable solution for Magic Online. Want to play the deck in this video? Check out the pinned comment below to easily rent the deck from Card Hoarder. Did you know you can rent the Epic Storm from Card Hoarder for as little as 7 tickets a week? The final round, we're on the draw. We have turn 1 Demonic Tutor for Black Lotus into Doomsday. I don't know what our opponent is playing, but I worry about 2 Doomsday being bad, but also this Thassa's Oracle being a mulligan. So this is effectively a 5-card hand. It has Doomsday in it, but it's just, I don't know how good this hand actually is. My gut tells me that I should mulligan into a hand with no lands, but it's actually quite insane if I just draw a single land. I'm going to keep this one. We will bottom Time Walk. I understand it's a little sketchy. Forest into Vexing Bauble. Well, I might as well counterspell this. Exile Preordain. And we rip the island. Wow. Ancestral Recall. Into Mox Sapphire. Preordain. We'll bottom the Daze. I'm going to keep the Street Wraith, because if I brainstorm into a black mana next turn, the Street Wraith allows me to win. Another Forest. Sylvan Library, sure. Not sure what they're up to over there. Another Daze. Let's play the Brainstorm. We found our black mana. Put back Necropotence and Underground Sea. Dark Ritual. Doomsday. We'll do Black Lotus, Ancestral Recall, Oracle, Gitaxian Probe. I don't even think I'm going to use this, gosh. We'll put the pair of Oracles on the bottom. Lotus, we'll do Probe Ancestral. Cycle Street Wraith, Ancestral Recall targeting me. We will play Gitaxian Probe down to 1 card left in deck, and the opponent concedes. Nice. Alright, I have no clue what they're playing here. I'm guessing it's probably not a very good Flusterstorm matchup, though. We might want another Force of Negation. Like I said, I don't know what they're up to. Let's board out 1 Daze on the draw. We'll bring in a cut down. Let's try this. Game number 2 on the draw, we will keep. Still not quite sure what our opponent's playing. For what it's worth, I thought that they might have been an Endurance deck, and that's why they didn't concede faster in game number 1. But we had the Daze for Endurance, so Daze actually looked quite good there. Forbidden Orchard? Okay. Fast Bond? I'm not going to counterspell a Fast Bond. Wasteland? Sure. Refine Brainstorm. I'm going to go grab the basic island. Let's Preordain. Bottom the Mental Misstep. Honestly, I don't even think I want the Force of Will. Dark Ritual was a good draw. Attack for 1. They're going to give me another Spirit. Maybe I'll go coast to coast with Spirits this game. Wrapup rotation. I feel like this gets like a Dark Depths card, so we're going to counterspell that. And they just pass. Interesting. Another land. We'll play the Scalding Tarn. Let's Brainstorm. Put back the Mox Jet and the Street Wraith. Swing better, swing. Thespian Stage. So they were getting Dark Depths. We will fetch. And they can Wasteland me here, I don't care. We'll grab Undercity Sewers. We don't need another Force of Will. Vampiric Tutor, that's a good one. We will pass the turn. Vexing Bauble. They're going to destroy my Undercity Sewers. I'm going to Vampiric Tutor. I could Daze this just to pick up the land and let it be countered. No, I don't think I'm going to do that. We'll just grab a Doomsday. Dark Ritual, Doomsday. So we'll put an Underground Sea in the pile. 2 Thassa's Oracles. A Flooded Strand. And a Street Wraith. Alright, and then we're going to put the Underground Sea on the bottom, the 2 Oracles, Street Wraith, Flooded Strand. And now we'll go to combat. Swing. They play Forbidden Orchard. We'll play Flooded Strand. We will cycle the Street Wraith, cycle Street Wraith, and now we will fetch Underground Sea, play Thassa's Oracle, trigger the Thassa's Oracle into the Flood Maw. Okay, we'll have to try again next turn. I was not expecting into the Flood Maw. Our opponent draws a card with Vexing Bauble. So now my Days and Force of Will are now alive. Windswept Heath, they pick up a basic forest. I get another spirit. They are very generous. Crucible of Worlds, that can be countered by a Daze. No thank you. Play the Underground Sea, and we will attempt the other Thassa's Oracle. Alright, we got the 3-2. If I had played a little bit better against the Esper Lurrus opponent, maybe we win that third game. If I Force of Will the Orcish Bowmasters. That just might be me not being familiar enough with the matchup. But I felt like I played okay enough throughout this league. I didn't make any major blunders other than that Orcish Bowmaster. What did I think of Days? Days was really good. But we did board in Flusterstorm in, I believe, 4 of the 5 matchups. So maybe you want more than one. A real consideration, and people are going to assume that I'm crazy here, is not playing the Moxen and instead playing like a 15th land and then gaining another card in your deck. Just because with all the Vexing Baubles running around, Doomsday is actually one of the best decks for playing through Vexing Bauble. So maybe you're just not supposed to play these cards and limit your exposure to losing to Vexing Bauble. It's a thought, it might be wrong. It's something to experiment with, at least in my opinion. So yeah, I mean, I thought Doomsday was great. Like, this is still probably my top runner for Eternal Weekend this year. I'm not a big fan of the Jewel deck, if I'm being honest. It feels like you're playing Vintage Belcher almost. Like, it's a lot of high rolls. It's obviously better than Belcher, don't get me wrong. But what I'm saying is, like, you open up your 7 and like that's the game you're playing. And I understand that London Mulligan exists and stuff like that, but I'm just not convinced it's a deck for me. I want a little bit more agency over the game I play. And that's part of the reason I like Doomsday. So thanks for watching. I really do appreciate it. If you have any thoughts, comments, questions, suggestions, whatever, put those down below. I'd love to hear from you, but that's all I've got for today. Thank you for watching and keep storming. Hey you, yeah you, make sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. And if you're interested, you can visit theepicstorm.com/donation decks to see your combo deck here on this very YouTube channel. You can even join me in a video in the Epic tier. It's totally worth it, I promise. And see ya. Thanks for watching.